Between the years of April 12, 1861, and May 9, 1865, the war between the states raged. The peace of the Appalachian Mountains was shattered. A brother took up arms against his brother. This will begin our Civil War Battles series. While we at Kentucky, Tennessee Living will cover a lot of the Civil War battles that took place in Kentucky and Tennessee, we do so with the hope that we have learned the lessons that were taught during that time as our nation was split, and that we will never see a time like that again. All aboard the Kentucky, Tennessee Living Time Machine. Please fasten your seatbelts and keep your arms and legs inside of the vehicle at all times. But to get going, we need your help. We still need to fire up that time machine to transport us. Please help us by clicking on the like, subscribe, and bell notification buttons down below. Not only does this fire up the time machine, but it convinces YouTube that we need a bigger time machine to reach more people who love history as much as you do. Now, back to our story. Pound Gap captured. In 1861, the Confederate States Army, under the command of Colonel John S. Williams, took control of Pound Gap. Confederate state troops maintained large camps on both sides of Pound Gap until March 16, 1862. In the fall of 1862, Williams participated in Marshall's ill-fated invasion of eastern Kentucky. However, Williams would continue to fight with Marshall as they won a victory at the Battle of Princeton Courthouse. Several times through the Civil War, the Pound Gap would exchange hands. The area served as a transit supply route by both Generals Burbridge and Morgan, as well as many others during the war. General Humphrey Marshall's Battle of Pound Gap. In January 1862, General Humphrey Marshall and his troops were stationed in Paintsville, Kentucky. There, he would be confronted in battle by General and future President James A. Garfield. The fighting did not go well as Garfield's Federal cavalry chased off the cavalry from Marshall's troops to the forks of Middle Creek, 2 miles from Prestonsburg, Kentucky. On January 9th, the two armies met again, and Marshall again withdrew his troops after a day of fighting. General Humphrey Marshall had his troops vacate their trenches at Hager Hill and marched his 4 regiments up Prestonsburg Road to the mouth of Abbott Creek, which intersected with Pound Gap Road at that point. Marshall used this point to station his troops. Because Garfield was pursuing him from Paintsville, Marshall had received intelligence that Craner, 40th Ohio, was moving east from Licking Station to reinforce Garfield. He was in a perfect position to intercept either of these forces before they had a chance to combine against him. This area also afforded Marshall a route out of the area if he won or lost the battle and had to do a hasty retreat. As it turned out, it was a retreat. He retreated his forces through modern-day Goodloe and Pyramid over Brushy Mountain and down Brush Creek to Hueyville. He then established a new camp at Joseph Gearhart's farm for a week. According to tradition, one unnamed Confederate soldier died and was buried at Gearhart Cemetery, while other soldiers burned fence posts to keep warm. Marshall then moved his troops to John Martin's farm for the rest and a warm welcome. General Garfield's Battle of Pound Gap. At the time, Brigadier General James A. Garfield was the youngest Union general of the war. Garfield gained fame from his battles. He later became President of the United States. Because Garfield was pursuing him from Paintsville, Marshall had received intelligence that Craner's 40th Ohio was moving east from Licking Station to reinforce Garfield. Approximately 800 Union troops under Brigadier General James A. Garfield marched through deep snow, used squirrel trails from Pikeville, then Piketon, to outflank and surprise the 500 or more Confederate state troops under Major John B. Thompson. The fight lasted less than 20 minutes, and the rebels fled, leaving everything behind them. General Garfield then burned several buildings to prevent Confederates from taking back their camp. There was once a Southern Army camp consisting of 71 log buildings to hold the area. President Garfield, then a general, had some of his troops to camp out for 2 weeks where the Jenkins Post Office now stands. General Garfield ordered that the 71 buildings be taken captive and the buildings be burnt down, then left a small regiment to guard the area. This would be one of the few mistakes he made during this war. General James Hunt Morgan of Morgan's Raiders later came through this area and met no resistance as they overtook the area once more. John Hunt Morgan's raids. On June 1, 1864, John Hunt Morgan would lead his men against a small Union detachment from Pound Gap. They would use the Pound Gap as a way to gain access to central Kentucky and then again as an escape route. Morgan and his raiders would humiliate the Union soldiers that had set up camp at the base of Pine Mountain as they went through the area to Cynthiana, Kentucky, where Morgan was defeated in battle on June 11, 1864. End of the Civil War. The Civil War would officially end on May 9, 1865. However, the second battle for Whitesburg, Kentucky, and Fredericksburg would still continue on that day. It would take some time for the news of the end of the Civil War to reach all of the battlefields that were still raging. While the fight would still continue in the Appalachian Mountains in the form of the feuds, the rest of the country would soon come to know peace once again. Thank you. We at Kentucky, Tennessee Living would like to thank you for watching our video series on the Appalachian Civil War battles. Don't forget to hit that like button, as the more likes we receive, the more likely YouTube is to suggest our videos to other viewers. Also, to receive notice when we upload a new video, be sure to subscribe and click the bell notifications. We thank you for continuing to support Kentucky, Tennessee Living as we are discovering the mysteries in Appalachian history.